Okay guys, in this situation here, let's imagine the scenario that I'm fighting against my opponent, I have him in the close guard, but guys, he did a big mistake. He didn't make posture, so he's gonna keep his both hands on the ground. Okay, so let's see what to do. So, I'm fighting against Kyle, and he did this mistake over here, guys. Look, he has his both hands on the ground. Okay, so he didn't have a posture here. Guys, when you're on top, it's really important to have posture, because with the posture, you stop the person's upper body. Okay, right now my upper body is completely free, so I can do whatever I want here, because I can move my upper body. I could attack his neck, attack his arm. So guys, first sweep you're gonna do here, it's gonna be the one they call like hand on the belt sweep, but it's not necessarily hand on the belt. So you're gonna see what to do here. So guys, I'm here, I'm gonna come up and go to the cross side of my opponent. The big mistake I see people doing here is when they come up, they put the elbow on the ground, and then I lose a lot of leverage. So make sure when you do it, put this hand on the ground. Okay? Guys, they call hand on the belt because I could sweep him controlling the belt, or I can sweep him controlling the elbow. I like controlling the elbow way better than controlling the belt, because controlling the elbow, I control his arm. So if he has some post here, I can take out his post. Guys, once I control his elbow over here, look, my guard is already open. All I'm gonna do is my right foot, I'm gonna place on the ground, and now I'm gonna lift my hip up. So I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna go straight to the mount and establish the mount over here. So let's see again. So I'm fighting against my opponent, okay? He has his both hands on the ground. Huge mistake. If he had his posture here, I would not be able to do that, because when I tried, he would push my chest down and then I can't come up. But huge mistake, he has his both hands on the ground. Guys, most of the times you get on this position that has both hands on the ground is right when we recover the guard, for example. They didn't have the time to do the posture. So then we go and we do this. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go across his body. Okay, so I see a lot of people trying to do like this, doesn't make any sense. So I'm always gonna go across. So I'm gonna come up, hand on the ground. I could start with the hand on the belt, but then I switch. I like way better controlling here. My guard is already open. As soon as I came up, I open the guard. Right foot I place on the ground. Now I'm gonna lift my hip up, and I'm gonna finish with the sweep and establishing here the mount. Let's see one more time. Fighting against Kyle, he has both hands on the ground. I'm gonna go across and come up. Hand on the ground, my guard is open. I'm gonna control his elbow, right foot on the ground, lift your hip up, and get the mount. And that's it. So very, very basic and very efficient. And guys, when I started Jiu-Jitsu, let's call it like my first year, this was my favorite sweep. I would put some close and I would try this one over and over and over and over. So I love this one because it's very simple, it's very quick, and it's very efficient. So that's why I always try this one. Okay guys, now we're gonna work here, probably like one of the most basic submissions we have from close guard, but also one of the most efficient. That's why like fundamentals, in my view, it's so important, you know, because it's the type of techniques that you can use as a white belt, and you can also use as a black belt. So we're gonna work right now the Kimura, okay? How to go to the Kimura from the close guard. Let's see how to do it. Guys, once again, I'm gonna use the Kimura when I found my opponent with the wrong posture. He didn't have the right posture. He didn't have one hand on my buff lapels and the other hand on my hip. So I found him on this situation, okay? Guys, I could fake here hand on the belt sweep, or I can go straight to Kimura. Let's go straight to Kimura, okay? Guys, so all I gotta do is, with my left hand, I'm gonna control his wrist, okay? And my right hand, I'm gonna come up and pass my arm around his elbow and find my wrist over here. So that's the Kimura, okay? Guys, we could do this 5 fingers, or we could do this 4 fingers. Honest, that's up to you. I have seen people who do 4 fingers and they're very successful. I have seen people who does 5 fingers and they're very successful. Both has some pros and cons, okay, and I'm gonna show here what are the pros and cons. So I got the Kimura grip. Guys, once I got the Kimura grip, I'm gonna lay down and I'm gonna pass my left leg over his back. That's the first step, because that's how I'm gonna avoid him to defend the position. The defense of the Kimura would be rolling and then he escapes. So come back again, guys. So to avoid that, I'm gonna place this leg over his back. Okay? Guys, now my next step is I wanna hip escape a little bit. Look how I'm not 90 degrees here. Probably like 150 degrees or something like that. I wanna stay 90 degrees. So I'm gonna do like this. Okay? And guys, now my next step is, it's time to tap him. Okay? So many people I see doing the Kimura like this, look, and then there's no submission here. Okay, so imagine, just imagine, don't do that because you're gonna break your opponent's arm. Imagine you want to place his hand behind his head. That's the direction that you should fall to get the submission. So don't go to the roof, go on this way, look. So I have the Kimura set up, I'm gonna start moving my hand towards his head until he taps. That's the direction. Guys, I could do 5 fingers or I could do 4 fingers. In this moment, 4 fingers is better, I have more pushing. But when it's time to set up the position, 5 finger. In this moment, 5 fingers is better, but when it's time to set up the position, 4 fingers is better, you have more control. So that's why like you gotta pick one and stick with that. There's no better or worse here. Okay, but anyway, I'm gonna move my hand towards his head until he taps. So let's see one more time. Fighting against Kyle, okay? I'm gonna control his wrist, so that's what I'm saying. Like, if I do 4 fingers right now, it's better than doing 5. But then in the end, it's better doing 5 than doing 4. So you gotta pick one. Okay, I'm gonna do 4 fingers. So I'm gonna control his wrist. I'm gonna come up. I'm gonna pass around, and I'm gonna meet my wrist. Once I did that, I'm gonna lay down, pass my leg over, and hip escape. So I'm 90 degrees to my opponent. Now I'm gonna move my hand in this direction. Imagine you wanna touch his hand behind his head. So I'm gonna go, 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 until he taps. And that's it. Guys, I could also use the Kimura as a combination of the hand on the belt sweep. So for example, I'm gonna try the hand on the belt sweep. He's gonna stop my sweep, placing his hand on the ground, and then right away I switch for the Kimura. That's one option as well. And then I lay down, leg over his back so he cannot roll. Stay 90 degrees to him. Imagine you want to touch his hand behind his head, and the submission is just there. Okay guys, now we're gonna work here the chokes from the closer. Okay, the most basic chokes we have. So I'm gonna show 2 variations. And guys, once again, we're gonna catch the opponent when he doesn't have the posture. Okay, if the opponent has the right posture, it's gonna be really hard to choke him. So the choke should come exactly in that moment that he didn't set up his posture yet. Most of the times those moments comes when right after you recover the guard. For example, your opponent passes the guard, he's on the side control, recover the guard, he doesn't have the posture. Or maybe he was on the mount, you do the elbow escape and he doesn't have the posture. Or maybe like in the beginner level, like white belts and this and that, many times they forget to do the posture. Even in the highest level, many times you see people not doing the posture as well. It's crazy, but it's true. So the choke is gonna come on that moment. So let's see how to do it. So, guys, I have my opponent here in the close grip, right? And look, he didn't have the posture. So it's very easy for me to attack his necks. If he did have the posture, would be hard, look. I would be kind of like away from him. So how I would get there? It would be really hard. So he has both hands on the ground. So guys, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna open his gi, and I'm gonna place this hand as tight as possible on his lapel. Okay? Really, really tight. Okay? Guys, the first hand is always the most important part. If my first hand is really tight, second hand I could even grab like this, and I can still tap in him. Okay? If the first hand is not tight, second hand I can go there and make the best grip ever, and I'm gonna spend all my energy here and he's not gonna tap. So always focus in the first hand. So I'm gonna open his gi with my left, my right's gonna go there, my left's gonna help me out. I'm gonna pull the lapel and I'm gonna grab this as tight as I can. Okay? Guys, now I have 2 options here to go to the choke. I can go towards this side, or I can go towards this side. Okay, you guys will see that don't overthink too much, because what I'm gonna show here makes a lot of sense when you are doing it. So guys, if I go towards this side, my hand is gonna go palm up underneath my first hand. So I'm gonna do this. Once I got here, now I'm gonna come back to the mirror. I'm gonna pull him to me and keep my buff elbows closed and push until he taps. Guys, another option I have, my first hand goes as tight as possible and I go to the other side. Now I'm gonna go palm down and I'm gonna control anywhere on his gi. Doesn't need to be on the lapel. And now once again, I come back to the mirror, I pull, and I have the choke really, really tight over there. Guys, don't overthink too much, because for example, if I go here and I try to go palm down, it doesn't make any sense. So it's kind of obvious that I'm gonna go palm up underneath the first arm and come back to the mirror and choke him. Same thing for the other side. I place my hand here, I go to the other side. Don't overthink, because if I try to do that option, it doesn't make any sense. So it's kind of obvious that I gotta go palm down on his gi, come back to the mirror and push. Guys, another detail that I always like to focus is like, guys, chokes are not like armbar. Armbar, you go, you get the person's elbow, you kind of like do one push, like boom, and the person step. Choke, many times we need time, okay? So don't go there, get the choke and do like this. Look. No, you gotta pull and you gotta keep it. So for example, if you put 100% of your energy on pushing, but you can only hold for 2 seconds, don't put 100%, put 90-80%, but now hold for 10 seconds. Doesn't make sense. So for example, let's imagine a guy is really, really tough. So I went here, I got a choke, I start pushing and he's not tapping. Guys, I gotta keep pushing. At some point he's gonna tap, look. And he did. But don't do like this, look. No, I gotta pull, push, and keep pushing until he taps. So I have 2 options. First hand here, I go to this side. Second hand goes underneath, palm up. Come back to the mirror and pull. I have the option to go here, go to this side. Second hand goes palm down, grab anywhere on his gi, doesn't need to be tumbling in. Come back to the mirror and pull. And that's it. That's how we do the choke from the guard. One of the best positions in Jiu-Jitsu. Very, very basic and very, very efficient. Okay guys, so in this situation here, let's imagine that my opponent doesn't have the right posture, right? So he kept his both hands on the ground. And I'm gonna attack here one type of arm lock on him. That's very basic as well and very efficient. So what I'm gonna do is, I found him with his both hands on the ground. I'm gonna pass one arm underneath his arm. And now I'm gonna connect hand with hand here. Kind of like gable grip. Once I did that, I'm gonna bring him to me. I'm gonna hip escape. And I'm gonna place my left hand on my lapel. Okay? Guys, look how my back is on the ground. That's wrong. I should stay sideways here. So I'm gonna hip escape a little more. And I'm gonna stay sideways. Now I'm gonna place my knee over his back and my hand on my elbow. So let's change the angle. So look, I'm here, I found my opponent with his both hands on the ground. I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna set up the gable grip and I'm gonna bring his arm to me. Once I did that, I'm gonna hip escape and I'm gonna control my lapel. And I'm gonna keep my right shoulder on the ground. Okay? Now I have my lapel, I'm gonna place my leg over his back. I'm gonna place my hand on my elbow. And now, guys, my head kind of grows. And I'm gonna push my elbow down until he taps. Guys, this position works because if you guys pay attention, I created a gap here between his elbow and the ground. Then my elbow is gonna go there and he's gonna push his elbow towards the ground. So I'm gonna push his elbow towards this gap here. And he's gonna tap before, look. So that's why this position works so well. So one more time, I'm here, I'm gonna pass my hand underneath his arm, gable grip, I'm gonna bring it to me, I'm gonna hip escape, and I'm gonna control my lapel. Once I got my lapel, my knee goes over his back. I'm gonna control his elbow. I'm gonna push until he taps. Okay? So guys, this is the type of position that I gotta do it very quick if I wanna make it work. So it's like I found my opponent with his hand on the ground. Make sure you don't even hurt your partner when you do that. I found my opponent with his hand on the ground. Right away I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna bring his arm and I'm here, look. Now my hand goes to my elbow, my left hand is on my lapel. I keep my knee here over his back to make sure he doesn't come up again. And I'm gonna push until he taps. Biggest mistake here is I see people putting kind of like the chest on the back. And now my chest, the back on the mat. And now my chest is against his elbow. So it doesn't make sense, look. So I gotta stay sideways to create this gap here between his elbow and the mat. And now I'm just gonna pull down and the submission is just there. So very, very efficient and very easy to do it. And it's the type of move that I can do quick and get my opponent very quick. Okay guys, now we're gonna work here, probably like one of the most basic submissions in Jiu-Jitsu and also one of the more efficient. We see that happening in the black belt highest level all the time and also for white belts. We're gonna do the arm bar from the close guard, okay? And let's see how to do it properly. So, fighting against my opponent, okay? Let's even imagine that he has the right posture here, okay? So guys, what I wanna do is, I wanna place my right hand behind his elbow. And if possible, I want to even like try to bend his arm a little bit. So when I make this grip, I can even kind of hit his elbow here a little bit, look. Because that's the perfect scenario. If I get like behind his triceps with his arm bended. Guys, as soon as I did that, I'm going to place my foot in the same side of his hip. I'm going to place my foot on his hip in the same side. Okay? Guys, now my right leg is going to grow here underneath his armpit. So this is the most important part. This leg is gonna hit his armpit and it's gonna help me to hip escape. So I'm gonna do this, look. Okay, so now look how 90 degrees to him. Only because I hit his armpit with this leg. Guys, now that I got here, this hand is free, right? My right hand on his tricep was the most important part. So this hand is free. So even if he tries to come back, I can use this hand to frame his head. And now I'm just gonna pass the other leg over, okay? I'm gonna keep my both knees tied, and my hand that was behind his triceps, I'm gonna place both hands on his wrists, okay? Now I'm gonna lift my hip up and pull his wrist down until he taps. Okay, so let's see again. So look, I'm fighting against Kyle here. I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna control behind his triceps. If I'm able to bend his arm a little bit, it's even better. So I can control his lead over here and I can go there and do like this. Once I did that, foot on his hip, and this leg grows under his armpit. Now, this hand is free. I can use to push his head if I need. If I don't need, I don't even need to do that. I can just pass straight. I keep my both knees tied. I don't cross my legs. When I cross my legs, I lose pressure here. He can try to come back. So that's why I want to stay like this. Both hands on his wrist. Lift the hip up. And the submission is just there. So push the wrist down and lift the hip up. And the submission is just there. In case of he falls, not a problem. It's even better. I have the regular arm bar. One more time. And guys, I always like to mention that in Jiu-Jitsu there is no right or wrong. So I'm telling you that when you do the armbar, to not cross his legs. But you're gonna end up seeing in tournaments and this and that, people crossing the legs and still being useful. Okay? When I cross the leg, I lose pressure, I lose leverage, but in the same time, the position is a little tighter. It's kind of like harder for my opponent to stand up. So in some case, you can cross the leg, not a problem. Jiu-Jitsu, there is no right or wrong, depends on the situation. So look, I'm here, I'm gonna control his wrist, I'm gonna hit his triceps, and I'm gonna control over there. I'm gonna place my foot on the hip, my right leg is gonna go under his armpit, boom, and I'm gonna set up the armbar. Look how I'm 90 degrees to him. Biggest mistake I see people doing here is they try to do the armbar from here, look. Doesn't make any sense. So that's why like I gotta place my foot on his hip and hit his armpit with the other leg. I'm 90 degrees to him, my left hand is free, I can use it to help me out. I'm gonna pass my leg over, both hands on his wrist, lift my hip up, push the hip down, the wrist down, and I have a submission. If I wanted to cross my leg, I can. I'm gonna lose pressure here, but at the same time, it's kind of harder for him to stand up. So it depends, right? But I would suggest start doing without crossing, keeping both knees tied, both hands on his wrist, lift the hip up, push the wrist down, and submission is just there. Pulse. Guys, this situation here, I'm fighting against my opponent and he's gonna stand up to try to open my guard, but he's gonna do a mistake here. He's not gonna control my sleeves. So look what's gonna happen. Kai's gonna stand up, 1, 2, here he is. But guys, he didn't control my sleeves, so I have my both arms free. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna control his both legs with my both hands. I'm gonna open my guard and I'm gonna close my both knees. Okay? Once I did that, now all I gotta do is I'm gonna use my both knees here to push him down, and I'm gonna keep controlling his legs. He's gonna fall, and I'm gonna control his opposite sleeve to use as a momentum to come up. So pay attention, I'm gonna do this with. And I'm gonna get up. So let's see again. So when you fall, don't control my lapel. So he's gonna stand up. 1, 2. He didn't control my sleeve, so I'm gonna control his both legs. I'm gonna open my guard, close my both knees. I'm gonna push, and as soon as he falls, I control his opposite sleeve, and I use it as a way to help me out to come to stand up. Okay, guys, it's really important to control the opposite sleeve because when I try to come up, 1 second, if I try to do an ab like this. It's hard. When I go in the cross side, it's way easier. Look. So that's why we always want to go to the opposite side. And the goal is always to try to get this sleeve. If for some reason I can't get this sleeve, I can control his lapel as well. But this sleeve is very important because just start like laying down here, okay? Just like bring your both legs and lay down. No, imagine like so just do the sweep again. So set up. Guys, if he tries to come back, he's gonna probably use this hand on the ground, put this hand on the ground, and now come up, to get up again. So that's why it's really important every time I come up, I always grab this sleeve, because I don't give him the chance to stand up. Okay, so let's see again, on the move, fighting against Kyle, he's gonna stand up, 1, 2, I control his both legs, I open my guard, both knees against his belly, I push, and then look, I control his sleeve and I use this as a momentum to come up. Okay? Okay guys, so in this position here, let's imagine I'm fighting against my opponent and he's on my close guard and he's gonna stand up controlling my sleeve to try to pass my guard. So I wanna come up with a sweep from there. Okay, so let's see what I'm gonna do here. Okay guys, I'm fighting against Kyle. He controls my sleeve, he controls my both lapels, he stands up, 1, 2, and he's just about to start open my guard and pass my guard, right? So guys, what I'm gonna do here is, I have one arm free, right? So the arm that I have free, I'm gonna involve his leg as much as I can, okay? Guys, I can sweep him only with one arm, but if I can break this grip, it's better. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna try to make my hair, I'm joking, I don't have hairs anymore, but I'm gonna try to break the grip just putting my hand on my hair, look. Okay? And now that I got this, I'm gonna place my palm on the ground and this arm around his leg. Now pay attention guys, I'm gonna lift my hip up and I'm gonna throw my hip against his knee. So he's not gonna be able to stay standing and he's gonna fall, look. Once he falls, I'm gonna control the opposite sleeve over here and I'm gonna come up. And pay attention that when he fell, I opened my guard to make it easier for me to come up and establish the position. Okay, so let's see again. Guys, a big mistake I see people doing is they try to do the sweep with the guard open. So look, my opponent stands and then they hold the leg, they open the guard and they try to do the sweep. It doesn't make any sense. This sweep is only strong because I had my guard closed. Okay, now my hip is strong. So look, I could do the sweep with only one hand, so even if he keeps controlling my sleeve, it's not a problem, I can still do it. But if I'm able to break this grip and place this hand on the ground, it's even better. I'm gonna lift my hip up, and I'm gonna throw my hip against his knee. He's gonna fall, I'm gonna control his sleeve, and I'm gonna use that as a way to come up. And last one, just pay attention that when my opponent falls, I open the close guard. So look, I'm here, he's gonna stand up, 1, 2, and I'm gonna control his leg, I'm gonna break this grip. Now when I go for the sweep, look, my guard is closed. Is closed. Once he falls, I open, and I come up. And then it's way easier for me to come up. I always want to control the opposite sleeve, because I know that this is the sleeve that this is the hand that he's gonna try to place on the hand to come up again. So I always gotta make sure to control this sleeve when I'm coming up and when I had his leg. So one more time, guys, last one. Fighting against Kyle, he's gonna stand up, 1, 2, I'm gonna control his leg. Look, now I'm gonna sweep without placing this hand on the ground. I just lift my hip up, I move my hip against his knee, look how he bends his leg, he's gonna fall. Once he falls, I control his sleeve, and I use that as a momentum to come up. So I'm gonna pretty much use his momentum that he's falling as a momentum for me to come up. So I'm gonna use his falling as my momentum. And that's it. Very simple, very efficient, and we see that happening all the time, even in the black belt level and also in the white belt level. So great fundamentals position. Okay guys, now let's hear a little bit about the spider guard. Okay, I want to show you the fundamentals about the spider guard. So first we're gonna start in the close guard and how to go to the spider guard from close guard, okay? And also how to do the most basic sweep from spider guard when my opponent has his knees on the ground. So guys, let's imagine fighting against my opponent that I tried to attack him with everything and nothing was working. Okay, so I tried to sweep him with a scissor sweep, I tried to choke, I tried kimura, nothing was working. So that's the time to open the guard, guys. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna control his buff sleeves, okay? And now I'm gonna place one foot on the ground and I'm gonna hip escape a little bit. Once I did this hip escape, I'm gonna bring one knee in, second knee in, okay? Guys, now my next step is I want to stay a little bit away from him. I don't want to stay too tight on him because he can start smashing. So I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna create some distance between him and me. Okay? Guys, once I did that, now my next step is to place my foot on his biceps. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna place my foot on his biceps and I'm gonna stretch. Guys, biggest mistake I see people doing here is they put the foot on the biceps but they stay like this, they don't stretch the leg. And then it's very easy for my opponent to start passing and getting rid of my hook. So I'm gonna really stretch. Okay? So that's the spider guard, guys. I have one foot on his hip, one foot on his biceps. Some people even play with like buff foot on the biceps, it's an option as well. I like better placing one foot on the hip and the other foot on the biceps. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring his arm in. I'm gonna place my elbow on the ground. This foot goes against his knee. I'm gonna start moving this leg that's stretched towards this way until that he falls, and I'm gonna get the mount. And that's it. So let's see one more time. Fighting against Kyle. He was on my close guard and nothing was working. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna control his buff sleeves. I'm gonna hip escape a little bit and I'm gonna open my guard. Once I open my guard, I'm gonna move away from him. I'm gonna place my foot on his biceps. Once I did that, I'm gonna bring his arm in. Okay? So guys, most important thing here, I gotta place my heel against his knee. Don't do like this. Here I have no leverage. So it gotta be like this, look. I have my elbow on the ground over there. I keep my leg stretched. Now I'm gonna pull this arm, switch, and get the mount. Okay? So one more time, last one. Fighting against Kyle. I'm gonna control his buff sleeves. I'm gonna place my foot on the ground, hip escape a little bit, bring one leg in, bring the other leg in. Okay? I'm gonna create some distance to make sure he doesn't smash me. I'm gonna place my foot on his biceps. I'm gonna bring this arm in, elbow on the ground. I'm gonna place my foot, my heel against his knee. I'm gonna bring and get a sweep and go straight to the mount. And that's it. Okay guys, next position we're gonna do here, let's imagine I have the spider guard but my opponent's gonna stand up. So let's see some principles about spider guard when my opponent is standing. So look, let's imagine I'm fighting against my opponent and I was in the spider guard over here, but he's gonna stand up. Okay, so look, I'm fighting against him, I have my foot on his biceps, my foot on his hip, and I have his other sleeve. Okay, guys, this is the spider. So first thing I really want to enforce here is like, when you place the foot on the biceps, make sure to stretch this leg. Don't stay like this. Look, it's very easy for him to get out. So make sure you really stretch that leg. That's why I always say like the spider is the type of position that you gotta be a little flexible to be able to do it very well. Okay, that's why like I stick more with half guard. Spider guard is not too much my thing because I'm not that flexible. But we gotta know at least the fundamentals and the principles. So look, I'm gonna stretch my leg and the other foot on the hip. And that's how we're gonna play the spider guard. But guys, let's imagine that Kyle, to try to pass my guard, he's gonna start walking towards the opposite side of my hook. So he's gonna start walking towards this side over here. Guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up a trap for him. I saw that he was walking here. I'm just gonna help him out. So I'm gonna get rid of this hook. Now that he's here, I'm gonna control his leg and I'm gonna bring my hip in. Look. Guys, now I'm gonna place my left foot on the ground. I'm gonna keep controlling his leg, keep my leg stretched over there. Now I'm gonna bend my leg a little bit. I'm gonna bring my hip even more in, and now I'm gonna stretch this leg and get a sweep. Once he falls, I'm just gonna come up and go straight to the side control. Okay, so let's see one more time. Fighting against Kyle. I had the spider guard. He's gonna stand up. Okay, I have my legs stretched, so that's the most important thing. Guys, some people play the spider guard with both feet on the biceps. It's an option, there's no right or wrong here. But as a fundamentals, I would suggest starting with the foot on the hip. It's easier to understand, it's easier to control, and you don't need to be super flexible because here you have to have a lot of flexibility. And another thing that's good to mention is like people who does spider guard with both feet on the biceps, their goal is to stretch both legs. So if I feel that Kyle is walking towards my, let's say like my left side, they stretch one leg. If he walks towards the other side, they stretch the other leg, and that's how they play the spider standing. But for you, I would suggest starting with the foot on the hip and this foot on the biceps. And if he walks towards that side, I stretch his leg. If he walks towards the other side, I'm gonna make this trap. I let it go, I control his leg, I bring my hip in, I keep my leg bending, and now when it's time to sweep, I just stretch the leg, he's gonna fall, and I'm gonna get a sweep. So let's just change the angle here to make sure you guys can see from other angle. You can start standing, Kyle. So look, I'm gonna control his sleeve, both the sleeves, foot on the biceps, foot on the hip. He's gonna walk there, I make a trap, I let it go, I control his leg. Pay attention guys, I place my foot on the ground, I bring my hip in, and I bend my leg. Now I just have to stretch his leg, he's gonna fall, and I'm gonna come up and get the side control. And that's it. So that's all I need to know. And this is the very, very fundamentals and basic concepts about the spider guard. And if the way to learn spider guard, first you start learning this type of position, and then you graduate and advance it what you're gonna learn next. So that's a great one for you to start. Okay guys, in this situation here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna work here one of the most basic submissions from the spider guard. And guys, I'm saying that in many videos, but also one of the most efficient submissions. That's why the fundamentals curriculum is really important for someone who's trying to learn jiu-jitsu. Guys, we're gonna work the triangle from the spider guard. And guys, triangle in my opinion is like one of the most basic and most efficient positions in jiu-jitsu. But even though there are a lot of details in the triangle that everybody should know, and I see many people doing mistakes there. So let's try to fix those, and let's try to understand how the triangle works on the spider guard. So guys, we're gonna do the triangle when my opponent's on the knees and when my opponent is standing. And you're gonna see that's the same positions, the same principle. So it's very easy to understand doing both ways at the same time. So first you're gonna do when my opponent's on the knees. So guys, first I'm gonna teach you only how to do the triangle, then we're gonna see how to finish. So I'm here in the spider, right? I'm gonna create that distance. Okay, I don't want my opponent trying to smash me. I'm gonna place my foot on his biceps and I'm gonna stretch. Now I'm gonna bring this arm in. Once I did that, this leg here is gonna slide over. And this leg is gonna slide under. Okay? So look what's gonna happen. I'm here, I'm gonna slide this leg over, slide this one under. But there is also an important thing here. First leg that slides is this one. Because I wanna use my foot on his hip to lift my hip up. So look, I'm here, I'm gonna stretch the leg. Now I'm gonna do this, look. Look how I lift my hip up. Once I did that, I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna lock the triangle. Okay, probably my opponent is gonna try to posture up. Okay? So now that I'm here, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to bend his arm, and now imagine you wanna follow his arm. So where his arm is pointing? His arm is pointing over there. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna twist myself over here. And now I'm gonna control under his leg, I'm gonna pull his head, and the submission is just there. Okay, so one more time. Have the spider guard. Okay, I'm gonna drive 1, 2. I'm gonna place my foot on his biceps, bring his arm in. I'm gonna lift my hip up, lock the triangle. I'm gonna bend his arm. Imagine that his arm is pointing over there. I'm gonna hip escape. I can even control under his leg and push his head down, or I can just go there and push his head down from here. Guys, this is the triangle from the knees. But now let's imagine that my opponent is standing. Just stand up, okay? I have the spider guard here, so foot on his biceps, foot on his hip, and his arm are between my legs. What I'm gonna do is exactly the same thing. This leg slide up, this leg slide down. But I'm gonna slide this one first because I wanna use the foot on his hip to lift my hip up. So look, leg stretching, and I'm gonna do this, look. Once I did that, I'm gonna lock the triangle. Guys, if you have short legs and you can't lock it, go there, grab your shin and adjust it. Okay? Now, bend his arm. Imagine he's pointing over there, so follow his pointing. You can control underneath his leg if you want, or you can go straight to his head and push down. Okay? So one more time. He's standing. Foot on the biceps, this hand on between my legs, lift your hip up, lock the triangle. If you have short legs, you can always use your hand on your shin to help it to lock. Okay? Bend his arm and follow where he's pointing. So he's pointing here, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna pull his head down, or if I want, I can even control underneath his leg, and I have the submission the same way. So very, very efficient submission. And we can always try this from the spider guard when my guard is open, the spider guard when he's standing, and works in all levels. You see triangles going on black belt level, brown, purple, blue, white. So that's the fundamentals for the triangle, and you can do that anytime. And I always used to joke that my spider guard is one shot triangle. When I'm on spider guard, I always try to go to the triangle. If the triangle works, great. If the triangle doesn't work, then I switch to something else because I'm not so much into the spider guard. But the triangle, I always try. So give it a shot. Okay guys, now let's imagine here that I'm in the spider guard, my opponent is standing, and I'm gonna first talk with you guys about how to understand like when should I use each sweep. And we're gonna work here one of the most basic sweeps we have from spider guard as well. That's the balloon, and let's see some details about it. So guys, I'm fighting against Kyle, and he's standing, right? So he's standing, and I have the spider guard set here. So also having the spider guard, we know that as a fundamentals, I want to keep my foot on his hip, the other leg on his biceps. I could do like this as well, but as a fundamentals, I would suggest you guys stick with this one. Okay, guys, when I'm in the spider, I should try to feel how is my opponent. For example, if I feel that he's walking towards my left side, I'm gonna do this sweep over here. Okay, If I feel that his upper body is going towards me over here, his upper body is going towards me over here, I can always go to the triangle, okay? If I feel that he's driving backwards, I could try to do this one, okay? But guys, let's imagine that I feel that he's trying to make pressure on top of me over here. So look, I'm feeling like all his weight's kind of on top of my left foot. Okay, so put weight on my left foot, more like our upper body falling, like, yes, like this. Okay, so guys, that's the perfect time to apply what you call the balloon. So what I'm gonna do here is the foot that's on his biceps, I'm gonna switch to his hip as well. So now I have the control of his buff sleeves and my buff feet on his hip. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open my buffet elbows, I'm gonna bring him to me and I'm gonna lift him. Okay? Guys, if I try to throw him towards this way, he might post his hand on the ground and stop in my throw. Right? So what I want you guys to do is, come back again. Guys, when I lift him up, I'm gonna do what we call shake the carpet. So I'm gonna bring his sleeves, and then when he thinks he's gonna post on the ground, I'm gonna shake the carpet. Imagine you're shaking your carpet. Okay, so I'm gonna bring. When he thinks he's gonna post, I'm gonna shake. And you guys will see that he's gonna fall like very well. So look, I have his buff sleeves. I'm gonna bring him over. When he thinks he's gonna post, I'm gonna shake. And I'm gonna go straight to the mount. Okay, so one more time. Fighting against Kyle. I have his buff sleeves. Okay. I'm gonna bring him over, lift him. When he thinks he's gonna post, I shake the carpet and I go straight to the mount. It's very important that you gotta understand that you gotta roll over your shoulder. To be able to finish a sweep, you're gonna roll over your shoulder and you're gonna drop right on the mount. So let's see one more time. Let's do towards this way right now. So look, I have the spider guard. Foot on his biceps. I felt that he was putting weight on me. Guys, don't try to do this position if he's trying to walk backwards, for example. It's not gonna make any sense. Okay? So I only gotta do this when I feel that he's driving forward. Then I place my buff feet on his hip. I bring him over, I shake, and I go straight to the mount. So that's why we call it shake the carpet. When you take the carpet that's a little dirty and you shake it to take out the little dirty things that stands out. So we do the same thing here. I bring him, when he thinks he's gonna post his hand on the ground, boom, I do the shake the carpet and I get him out. And that's it. Okay guys, now we're gonna see here a different type of open guard. Hand on the lapel and hand on the sleeve. I think it's very important to know this type of guard as a fundamentals because it's very simple to do it and it's gonna show you a lot of jiu-jitsu there, like on how we should use grips and how we should use our body and this and that. So let's imagine I'm fighting Kyle here, and instead of setting up the spider guard like this, I'm gonna set up this type of guard. Hand on the lapel, hand on the sleeve, and foot on the biceps over there. Okay? Guys, this position, I love to teach this position as a fundamentals because it's gonna show you here how you should go against the person's body. So for example, if Kyle moves forward, it's one type of sweep. If he moves backwards, it's another type of sweep. If he just stays in the same situation, it's more like towards triangle. So let's see here. So guys, first position you're gonna do is, let's imagine that Kyle's driving backwards. Okay, so I felt that his weight was all backwards. So what I'm gonna do is what we call the tripod sweep. I'm gonna let this hand goes. I'm gonna switch this leg behind his foot and I'm gonna control his opposite foot over here. So now look what I did. I control his both legs, one with my heel, one with my hand, and I had my foot on his hip. So now I'm able to kick him and at the same time sweep this leg and he's gonna fall. Pay attention. And I'm gonna come up and get the Hefner. If he didn't have the Hefner, I could even go straight to the side control over here. But probably my opener is gonna close the Hefner. So let's see again. Kyle's standing. I have one foot on his hip, one hand on his sleeve, hand on his lapel, foot on his biceps. Okay? I'm gonna keep him some distance between him and me. Now I'm gonna switch, place my heel behind his leg and my hand on his leg over here as well. Now what I'm gonna do, This foot's gonna kick him, this foot is gonna sweep his leg, and this hand is gonna sweep his leg. So I'm gonna do this, look. And I'm gonna come up and establish the half guard over here. Okay, so one more time. Guys, one important detail here that I see a lot of people doing wrong is when you go for this tripod sweep, make sure you calculate the right distance to place your heel against his heel. Don't do like this, because I'm gonna lose the sweep. Look, now the sweep doesn't work anymore. So that's why I gotta stay over here. Because here I have this sweep and I have this kick as well. So I'm gonna do both in the same time, look. And I'm gonna get on top and establish a sweep. And that's it. Okay guys, so in this situation here, you're gonna do what I call the different tripod. So I have my open the spine just enough. In this type of guard here, I control his lapel, I control his sleeve, and I have my foot on his biceps. Okay? Guys, this type of guard I love to teach in the fundamentals because we understand a lot about how the body works here, like when should I use each sweep. So guys, the regular tripod is this position, okay? That's the one I call the regular tripod. But right now what you're gonna work here is what I call the different tripod. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna switch this hand to this sleeve. And now I'm gonna switch this hand that was on his sleeve to his leg. Once I did that, my right foot's gonna go all the way down to his leg. And I'm gonna hook his leg over there. Okay, so if you see, like, my right foot is hooking his leg. And now I set up a tripod on his legs. Look, I have the control of his heel, my hook has the control of his other heel, and my foot's on his hip. Now I'm just gonna kick him, come up with my knee up. That's very, very important. I wanna come up with my knee up to avoid triangles. Okay, so let's see again. So look, I'm fighting against my open, foot on, hand on his lapel, hand on his sleeve, foot on his biceps. I'm gonna switch this hand to his sleeve, this hand to his heel. Now my foot's gonna go all the way down to his heel. A mistake I see some people doing here, they put the foot behind the knee. This is still doable, but now he can move his leg a little bit, so that's not perfect. So I wanna have my foot over here. Now I'm just gonna kick him, and once he falls, I break his leg, and I lift my other knee. And I'm just ready to start passing his guard, and I avoided the triangle. So let's see one more time. Guys, I'm gonna use this position when I feel that my opponent's driving backwards, right? So if I feel that he's driving forward, I'm not gonna try this. If I feel that he's driving backwards, look, I just switch the hand on the lapel one level down, the hand on his sleeve one level down. I'm gonna place a hook behind his leg. I'm gonna kick and come up. And that's it. I have a sweep here. I could start going for Nika or anything I want. Okay guys, in this situation here, what we're gonna do is, let's imagine that I'm fighting against my opponent and I have the hand on the belt, the hand on the lapel, hand on the sleeve. I'm doing that type of open guard, and I'm gonna feel that my opponent is gonna start driving towards me. So he's gonna put all his weight on me. So let's pay attention here. So look, I'm fighting against Kyle here. I have his sleeve, I have his lapel, and I have my foot on his biceps. Okay? Then I felt that he's driving towards me here. All his weight is on my foot. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna switch my right hook, my right foot here underneath his hip, and I'm gonna set up this as a hook. Now I'm gonna bring him towards me, I'm gonna kick him over, and I'm gonna finish the sweep as a balloon. So let's see again. Fighting against Kyle. I have his sleeve, I have his lapel, okay? I have my foot on his biceps. I felt that he was walking towards me. I'm gonna switch this foot underneath his hip. I'm gonna bring him towards me, and I'm gonna push his sleeve down. So I'm gonna do this, look. And I'm gonna roll over my shoulder and finish the sweep with my hand on his neck, hand on his lapel here, ready to go for the choke. So one more time. Fighting against Kyle. So guys, in this situation here, for example, if I feel that my opponent is walking backwards, I would go for the tripod, for example. If I feel that he's walking forward, that's the time to do the balloon. So foot goes underneath his leg, I'm gonna bring him to me, I'm gonna kick, and I'm gonna roll over my shoulder and finish the position here, ready to go to some choke or anything like that. So very basic, and it's the type of position that I gotta use in the right time. When he's coming towards me, I'm gonna use it and I'm gonna finish. Okay guys, this situation here, I'm gonna have my open in this type of open guard over here, right? Foot on his hip, hand on his lapel, hand on his leaf, and foot on his biceps. Okay, and now let's imagine that I feel that like he's moving his upper body towards me. So it's not like too much his weight on me, but his upper body is. So guys, I can always hit the triangle from here. Look, I have my hand on his leaf, my hand on his lapel. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lift my hip up and I'm gonna involve his head with my leg. Once I did that, this leg gets out and I close the triangle. In case of if you have short legs, I can always place my hand on my shin and help me out to lock it. Now I'm gonna cross his arm and I'm gonna make sure that I follow his arm. So look, imagine that his hand is pointing towards that way. So I'm gonna switch my hip and follow his arm. Once I got here, I'm gonna place my both hands on his hand and I'm gonna pull. Or I could even control underneath his leg as well and push with only one hand. Okay? So I was here, I felt that he's moving his upper body towards me. I'm gonna slide this leg up, keep my foot on the hip and lift my hip up. Once I did that, I'm gonna go there and close the triangle. I'm gonna control my shin and lock it. Now I'm gonna cross his arm. I'm gonna follow the direction of his hand. So I'm gonna twist a little bit. Both hands on his head. I'm gonna push until he taps. Or if I want, I can control underneath his leg and push the same way. And the submission is just there. So one more time, last one. Here, hand on his lapel, hand on his leaf. I'm gonna lift my hip up. Close the triangle. Can use my hand to help if I need. Switch his arm. Hip escape a little bit. I want to stay almost like 90 degrees to him. I could go under his leg if I want, or I can just place my both hands on his head, push, and the submission is just there. That's it.